Hey everybody, Objectively Dan here, and I want to tell you about the great state of Oklahoma, of course, where politician Ryan Walters has started the Office of Religious Liberty and Patriotism within the Oklahoma State Department of Education. Walters has, of course, been criticized for far-right Christian and political views in the past, most notably by requiring the Bible to be taught in all classrooms. And of course, this action has brought up a lot of issues, including the constitutionality of this new office. And with Walter's past history, you have to wonder, will the religious freedom of anyone other than Christians actually be upheld? Is Oklahoma trying to imply that if you're not religious, you can't be a patriot? I mean, we've already seen claims from Christian nationalists in the past saying that you can't be patriotic unless you're also a far-right conservative Christian. So I got to ask, is the Oklahoma Department of Education taking this idea too far and enforcing it on the students? Of course, we'd like to hear your thoughts because the show is starting right now. Hello, everybody. I am Objectively Dan. This is Truth Wanted, the live call-in show that happens every single week, Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time, where we talk to people about what they believe and why. And every single week, we have lines open for you to call us. The number for that is 512-991-9242, or you can call through your computer at tiny.cc/call-TW. Truth Wanted is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the promotion of atheism, critical thinking, secular humanism, and the separation of religion and government. And every single week, I always have a special guest. This week's no different. It's Kelley Laughlin. Kelley, welcome back.
Hey, how
What's
you
up?
doing?
What's up?
Yeah, not much. It feels good to be back. It seems like so long since I've been here.
That's right, folks. Let me tell you something. I was streaming last week, Thursday, and we were of course talking about the election, right? The election stuff was happening, and I was so just distraught. I think just like talking about it for as long as I did and talking to people, I literally got zero hours of sleep the next day. And I sent a message to our chat and I said, I can't do this. I can't do that again. I just cannot talk about it again and put my body through that. So Kelley, thanks so much for stepping up last week and hosting. Really appreciate it. And sorry to folks who were expecting a different face last week. I'm here now though. So, making up for it. And yeah, if you do want to talk about election related stuff, just as a reminder, we are being done by a nonprofit organization, right? Like this show is kind of run by one. So we are limited in our political speech, but we can talk about policies. We can talk about those ideas that we disagree with. And that's why I think this opener, Kelley, is a really strong one, because this is like exactly what we care about. Like, oh yeah, Office of Religious Liberty and Patriotism. It sounds fake. It sounds not real.
It really does. And it's also, not only do we have this going on, but in Louisiana, we have now the 10 Commandments have to be posted in every classroom as well. And we have a court case going on over that. So both Oklahoma and Louisiana are really pushing the constitutionality of this separation between religion and government.
Yeah,
within the school system, they're actually using the children to further their political means, which I really find distasteful.
It is distasteful, and you know what, Kelley? It is exactly the reason why the Atheist Community of Austin exists. It's the exact reason why these shows exist, is to talk about like this specific stuff. Like we're getting down to our roots here, okay? Like that's the big stuff. This idea of the separation of church and state, that's huge. That's huge. And as disheartening as last week really is, it just means that we're just going to have to fight even harder the next 4 years. And people ask, what does that mean? What can you actually do? Well, there's only so much you can do. I do think that at least talking about it, raising awareness, letting people know about these issues can do some things on some local levels. Again, depends on where you're at. But the problem's also not going to go away by just ignoring it either, right? Like somebody's got to talk about it. And so we're going to keep talking about it. We're going to keep trying as much as we can until that changes. I don't know what the law is going to look like, 4 years from now, and how organizations like ours are going to look like. I don't know. Interesting times we're living in. But at least I know for me, I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing, unless given reason otherwise. I don't know how you feel about this whole
Yeah,
deal,
it's
Kelly.
yeah. I don't know how to do anything else but to keep on keeping on. So
Mm, yeah.
yeah, I don't. One of the things I know, not just it wasn't just you. I've seen a lot of people get a little bit disheartened by the results of last week. I just I haven't been as disheartened. I felt let down so many times before in the past that during elections that, and this one
Mm,
I really believe probably has more impact than any of those other ones, but I guess it didn't really hit me as hard as it did everybody else. It just made me think, well, we're like you said, we're going to have to work a little bit harder and getting out the message, educating people, and hopefully getting rid of this whole movement. It's
yeah.
not going to stop with just, he only had it. There's only one more term in office, but this whole movement's not going to end with this one person. So I think it's
Yeah.
important that we get out there and fight back against the things that you don't like.
Yeah,
So
important to clarify, like when we say movement, we're really talking about, I think, Christian nationalism, right? Like we're talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
folks who are like actively engaging in a religious persuasion and forcing that persuasion onto everybody else because they think that that's what the values of this nation are built on, even though it's been proven time and time again that not only is that not true, but also even if it was true, that would be shitty. That sucks. I don't like them and I don't agree with them. And I have a right not to, go to school with a Bible in hand, right? Like I just don't think that this is the kind of stuff that should be forced upon in our culture, but it is. And it seems to be the trend,
hmm
and it's probably going to keep happening. So, if anything, I think being an activist is meaningful, maybe now more than ever. But I don't know. It's hard. It's really, really hard.
And
But yeah,
that's actually one of the things that bothered me about the name of this office was
hmm
religious freedom and patriotism. Like they were
hmm
tying this patriotism into the idea of religion, and I think that's really toxic.
yeah,
So yeah, and that's Christian nationalism in a nutshell, right? So
right. That's what, yeah, Christian nationalism really is just this idea that hey, America is awesome, and it's awesome because it's Christian. Like, and anybody who doesn't follow that very specific criteria of values and a sense of history and place are an enemy,
mhm.
right? Like in no uncertain terms, they are the bad guys. They are the people that are influencing your children and turning your kids trans, whatever the fuck they say, right? Like that, obviously paints this as
Yes,
fucking
they're giving sex change operations to your children at the school that can't even afford to buy new textbooks.
yeah, of Oklahoma. Like, okay, yeah, we were really struggling with religious persecution in fucking Oklahoma of all states. Oh God, right? Like,
Mhm.
will somebody think of the Christians? My goodness. I mean, how many gay cakes did the average Oklahoman have to buy before this office is put into place? Right? I mean, it just every day they couldn't go to the store. Every store they went to, all gay cake places. Ridiculous. But anyway, yeah,
I know I drove through Oklahoma a couple of years ago, and that was all I saw everywhere.
just yeah,
Gay wedding cakes everywhere.
gay
Every
wedding
little
cakes.
town I went through had 4 or 5 gay bakers. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
it's like a third of the state economy, I think, at this point. It's kind of wild. That and like satanic rituals and like HRT. I don't know something like. I mean,
I just you've seen the Christian Bible stores, right, with all the Christian knickknacks and stuff. And you
yeah,
said that, and I was thinking, oh yeah, there's probably like satanic little satanic knickknack stores,
right.
right?
100%. Yeah, I don't know. It's so funny. If you've ever been to Oklahoma, those of you who do live in America, I mean, they're like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, okay, like if you want to be a Christian and be safe, you can't get safer than Oklahoma. Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't. Where else are you gonna go? Like somewhere remote in Montana, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, very funny that the Oklahoman people think this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Um, sucks. It's stupid.
It,
But oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, it really makes me wonder if they really understand that there are other religions.
I don't. I mean, obviously I think they think there are other religions. I don't think that they think that other people in America are not Christian. You know what I mean? It's either Christian or not Christian. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
the only only delimiter there.
yeah.
And depending on what
That's
kind of Christian you are, that could be a very narrow set of Christians as well. You know?
that's going to be an. I think that might be an interesting clash we might see in the future. That some Christians aren't going to be as happy with maybe some of the rulings from the Supreme Court, say, because the Supreme Court is all Catholic for the most part. So
Yeah, there's an element of that. I mean, it can only start to they can only start to eat themselves
mhm,
more, right? Like
mhm.
there's only going to be more and more infighting as these things go by. But you're seeing some super chats on the screen right now, folks, because we're actually doing something very special today. Let's talk about a positive thing right now that's happening. This is a new thing that YouTube is doing. YouTube is having this thing where you can set goals on your super chats, which is awesome because there's so much room for shenanigans. Okay, so the goal for tonight is to get 10 $10 donations. That's what we're looking for. 10 $10 donations. Here's what happens if we get to that goal. Some of our crew members, at least two, well, maybe more, have given their bodies up tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and they will be putting some hot sauce in a shot glass and drinking that sucker up. Here we go. There they are. John's maybe not. I thought John was going to do it too. Maybe not. Maybe he'll be inspired. But we already have 2 donations towards that goal at the very beginning of the show here. So thank you so much for those donations. And I'll read them out right now. One of them is from Jason Sherwood. Member of 2 years, gave $10 and said, "I'm just putting this here to punish the crew. Wait, ... And it's funny because Jason's part of the crew, but he's not partaking in the Tabasco, like hot sauce shot thing. So like Jason's he's just putting the crew out to dry tonight. He's doing them dirty. But hey, it's for a good cause, right? So I guess we got to give props to Jason for that. And we have another $10 from Miranda Rensberger. Thank you so much, Miranda. And they said, Oklahoma schools also want their Bibles to include the U.S. founding documents. So that's a specific politician's Bible. It's an insidious way of making kids think of the Constitution is a Christian document. And yes, this was like very, like, I think we talked about it on here, pretty famously publicized, like Oklahoma like had like very specific requirements for their Bible. There was like 2 Bibles, I think, that like actually fit them. And one of them happened to be a well-known politician's Bible that has his own name brand to it. So make with that as you will. But yeah, Oklahoma. What's going on in Oklahoma? I don't know. Oklahoma's always been weird. And I will tell you, as a Texan, nobody talks more shit about Oklahoma than Texans. I'm willing to bet money on that.
It's true.
So it's a part of my culture and it's part of my heritage. So I do have a right to do that. I'm just putting that out there. For those who think I'm talking shit for no reason. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for this. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if any other Texans want to call in and talk shit about Oklahoma, we have call lines open.
That'd be
right
awesome,
now.
actually.
Yeah.
I would love to have a competition to see who's talking the most shit about Oklahoma. And the thing is, I think if you live in Oklahoma and you watch this, I think half of you guys are probably gonna be like, yeah, you're right. I don't know. At least the Oklahomans I know will probably agree. Yeah, so we do have that goal. So we're already $20 towards that $100 goal. Again, if you give $10 tonight and we get enough of that, the crew will drink hot sauce live on the air. And but it's for a good cause. So please consider donating for that purpose. With that being said, Kelly, we have some other stuff we can get to. We have a We Want the Truth segment, right?
Oh yeah, we do have one of those.
Absolutely. Last week, Kelly asked you guys a question and or prompt. And that question and or prompt was, what's your sarcastic answer to what are you thankful to God for? And here were some of Kelly's favorite answers, I think. Kelly, you want to read the next couple answers here?
Sure, I'll read number 3 from Shay the Crocheter. I'm thankful to God for creating Christopher Hitchens.
Well, yeah, that's interesting conundrum there. God create. It's kind of like God creating the whole Satan thing, like not sure what the deal was there. Don't know what the plan was, but okay, yeah,
and,
real good.
And then I'll take number 2. You take number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 came from Jason Techlord. My sarcastic answer to what do I think of God for? Hats.
Is that sarcastic though? Because, you know, well, I mean, Jason probably doesn't believe in God. I mean, I know he doesn't believe in God, but you know, like cats are nice. They're a good thing to have around, right?
They can be.
They can be. That's true. That's true. They can be.
They can be.
Yeah.
When we first got the building that our store is in now, it had been empty for 5 or 6 years, and there was a bunch of mice in it. And somebody suggested we get a cat, and I thought that's a good idea. And then my son said, "Well, if we get a cat, it's going to knock all the rocks off all the shelves." And I was like, "Oh yeah." So we ended up not getting a cat for that reason.
Yeah, I can see how that could be a problem. You just get a real tiny cat. They can't move stuff, but they can still fuck stuff up. Actually, yeah, I don't know. Maybe some other solutions there. But our number 1 answer for this week comes from, I believe it's Job Fortuna, who says, my sarcastic answer to what do I thank God for? I thank God for Satanism. There you go. Right? Thank God for Satanism. I mean, like, this is kind of interesting, at least for some people. I don't identify myself really as a Satanist, but for those who do, you know, there's at least something that they could put their sense of values in, you know, a kind of cultural ethic, right? So I don't know. That's another one where I feel like you could be maybe legit thankful. But I guess if you don't believe in God, it's all sort of facetious in the first place. I don't know, Kelly. I don't know where I'm going with that. But anyway, we do have open lines at the moment. So we are waiting on you, folks at home, to call into the show to give us topics to talk about. And we'd love to hear from you. But before, of course, we move on to whatever subject we're going to talk about, the prompt this week is complete the sentence. You know, it's time to leave church when blank. So give your answers below. You know, it's time to leave church when blank. Kelly, what about you? When's a good time to leave church? What's your answer to this one?
How about when the priest starts making eyes at you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good time. That's a good time. You're not wrong. Yeah, okay, see if you can beat that in the comments. Because that's not a red flag. That is like a store of red flags. That's like a referee store. That's how many red flags are going off with that one. Anyway, we'd love to hear your answers. And hey, if you don't have an answer, but you still want to support the show, liking and subscribing and sharing is also a great way to support the show. Just FYI. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But anyway, yeah, so like I said, we are at we got another super chat here. It's $10 from Frankenstein that says for ice cream afterwards. Yeah. Deep cut there. Another $10. Oh my gosh, are we gonna make this goal like right now? That'd be awesome. Nika Breaker gives $10 and says, one does not simply walk into Mordor without sauce hotter than Mount Doom magma, or at least a banana. I think it's a banana pepper. Something here I have to pull back up on the side screen here. Or at least a banana pepper ring of power. Okay, at least a banana pepper ring of power. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Okay, so we're 40% towards our goal in the first like 20 minutes of the show. So good job, guys. We're ahead of schedule on that front. See if we could, keep going there. Oh, we have more? Oh my God, is there more stuff? Crew's messing with me. They're putting all kinds of super chats. Crew will let me know when there's more super chats. But thank you guys, obviously, who've donated so far. You guys are amazing for that. But anyway, I've been talking a lot here, Kelly. What's on your mind?
I was thinking that if I was the crew, I would probably not be putting up the super chats, but
right, they're troopers. Yeah. They really are. I'm glad they do what they do. I told crew this too. Look, we will next time we do a goal thing. I will embarrass myself or do something silly in some way. This is what we came up with, but I'm down for your ideas. If you have ways to humiliate me within reason, okay, or just something you want to see for a goal, leave that in a comment, because we will look at that and consider it, because we'll try to get a goal every week, I guess.
Sure.
Why not? And adjust it accordingly. But hot sauce, that's not my thing. We get my price is higher if we're gonna do hot sauce for me, okay? But I'm sure you guys can come up with with more things.
What is your price for hot sauce?
I would say 500 maybe.
Oh,
I am not I don't want to say I'm too sensitive to spicy food because I do like spicy food, but I'm definitely on the lower end of the spicy spectrum. So like hot sauce, like just a straight shot of it, that would not be that would be extra unpleasant, I feel like, for me. But I don't know. What about you, Kelly?
I I I really do like spicy stuff. As I've gotten older, it's not up. Oh, we got another one. As
Yeah.
I've gotten older, I don't do as well with spicy foods, but for the sake of this challenge, if I had a shot of hot sauce, I would do it just for the sake of doing it with everybody. To be in brothership with the crew, I'd do it with them.
Yeah. Well, maybe okay, or if we had 500, maybe we could all do one together then. We could do like a
I
whole.
have a package of Louisiana hot sauce.
Okay, see, Kelly, that's on you. Kelly, if you want to do that with the crew, that's on you, bud. You make that decision. Personally, I'm out. I, that's that's enough for me. But real quick, I do want to give a shout out to super chat to Helllsbells, who gave $6.66, saying, "Hello, my friends. I have missed you. Be kind. Hail Satan." Thank you so much, Helllsbells, for that kind message. But I do want to point out, if you want to contribute to the goal, it does have to be at least $10. We, of course, accept and we'll read all super chats, of course. But if you are interested in the goal, I think it specifically has to be a $10 donation. I think that's how the YouTube goal system works. If I'm wrong, Drew can correct me on that. But in case you're interested, right, and you want to help that, we will get to that. But anyway, yeah, we still have some open lines here, so we're just gonna be chilling.
Yeah,
We're just gonna be chilling.
yeah. I
And
saw. I don't know
mhm.
if you saw on the news, but there was some more testimony about UFOs before Congress this week.
Yes, I did see this, and here's how my brain works, Kelly. I have to absorb that information because I have to be prepared for people to ask me on this show my opinion. Like that's how I absorb things in that space. So I do have some thoughts, but I don't know how far you want to go down that road. I mean, what do you think about that? Did you look into that story?
I looked into it a little bit. I didn't really do much of a deep dive into it this week. I had other things going on, unfortunately. So,
Hmm.
yeah. But I thought maybe it might be a subject of interest for this show in particular. So,
It is a subject of interest in this show. So the thing with these three guys, I know. Are you serious? More donations here. What's going on? Jason said about 10 minutes left. Come on and make this happen. Jason, Jason's like, fuck it. Just let the crew suffer. Damn. Okay. All right. Well, we're getting there. Thanks, guys. Thanks for donating. We're gonna make this goal. I think we're about
oh
halfway
yeah,
there.
our producer says that there's only 10 minutes left in the challenge, but if we can get to halfway, they'll extend it to the end of the show.
Yeah, that's a good point to clarify because I think I originally said it's to the end of the show. It's not. It is set to the halfway point, I think, of the show. So we do have about 15 minutes left on that. So we can make it happen. We can definitely make it happen. So anyway, okay, so the UFO testimony stuff. We'll give you guys a breakdown. Okay. So Congress is doing more testimony from people talking about UAP reports and stuff. I did not get the chance to watch the entire like C-SPAN stuff, which I have done in the past. Okay, I have absolutely done it, and I will do it again. I just didn't have time to watch all of it, but I did get a gist of what's going on here. We have some more people whose credentials are at least sound, right? Definitely people who have military experience, have been in particular fields of applications of study. So they're not like you're just your average Joe down the street. Does not exactly give them, UFO expertise or anything, right? But we have somebody who's been in the Department for Study of Oceanography, right? We've got some naval admiral retired admiral is one of them, I believe, and you know, some other folks who again worked in intelligence. And so there's folks who have a background, right, and who are saying, hey, we've seen some stuff. We've seen some stuff. We don't know what's going on. We think it's aliens. And at least one of them are saying that not only do they think it's aliens, but that we have actual alien technology. The U.S. government is in possession of or not U.S. of alien technology. So is it real? Do I think it's changed my mind? No, because the problem with testifying to Congress is you can say fucking anything. It does not matter. It is not a court of law, right? When you testify to Congress, you will not be held in contempt of court for saying something that's not true, or not saying something that's not true, but like, you know what I mean? You're not going to be held liable to your words. Your words are not going to affect you for any sort of sentencing or any sort of payout or anything. That's not how these things work. Testimony happens for Congress to make decisions on things, particularly, obviously, law is usually right what happens, but also like, you know, investigations, you know, these kinds of stuff that comes up. So a couple people testifying to Congress doesn't do much for me. Again, their backgrounds are notable, but there's always been people whose backgrounds are notable and believe in like weird stuff, right? So it just doesn't move the needle too much for me. If you wanted my take, what will move my take is if we actually see some of this stuff. If somebody has some alien tech, or maybe we can talk to some of these aliens, or at least see their bodies like they did in Mexico. Remember that? They had the paper mache bodies or whatever's going on there. Like I at least want to see that, because the American public is not watching C-SPAN, and they're reading about this news the next day on their local news app or whatever, and they just kind of say, huh, that's weird, and they move on. It's just not going to do much for anybody unless they put more committees into more investigations for stuff. And we already have a department for that, for investigating UAPs. And they're like, yeah, we don't know. So I don't know. It doesn't do much for me, Kelly. What do you think?
I'm in the same boat. I've always thought that maybe the whole UFO thing has been an attempt to cover up maybe advanced weapons technology. If you want to start getting into conspiracy theories, then I think that's a pretty and I think that's a viable one. And I think that I'm pretty sure the government has already done things like that in the past with the drone program. So who knows? I mean, who knows what's going on over there? And to get somebody like a retired admiral, it'd be easier to, you know, for the military to get somebody like him to come out and say things that weren't true just to throw people off.
Yeah, and again, like the problem, it all comes back to David Grush. I think David Grush, when he first testified, like gave a lot of people confidence to speak more about it. There's definitely if you look at the people who have been posting about this and who believe they have their own experiences, a lot of them have felt like, hey, I would feel like I'm crazy if I talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
And so more people are coming out. And so Grush, you know, his background was in Pentagon in intelligence, right? And so like, because I think his higher sort of stature in government, I think, is emboldening more people to come out about their own claims and stories. But it's always stories. It's not paperwork. It's not I don't know, anything presentable. Like testimony is just not enough. This is too big of a claim. It's too big, right?
Mm-hmm.
Too immense of a thing for us to just believe whatever some folks that are testifying in front of Congress are saying. So yeah, I'm in the same boat with you, at least on that part. I think we had our super chat that here it is. No God Required gave $10. We all love the crew, but it's hot sauce, just a taste of the hell that awaits them. Dear God, that's so
just 4 to go.
4 more $10 donations to go. And we will. Oh my God, did Jason just do it again? He did. Jason gave $10 again, saying 5 minutes left. Come on, just 3 more supers. Okay, all right, we are close. We're closing in. We just need 3 more, and we can at least get some entertainment from the crew. But yeah, I've been talking a lot again here, Kelly.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
We gave you one of my thoughts.
Yeah.
It seems too like a lot of the testimony that I've heard is always, well, I was told about this program. I
Mhm.
overheard this conversation. You know,
Mhm.
it's a lot of it from what I at least from in my experience, about 90% of what I've heard of it has all been secondhand knowledge anyway. It hasn't even been, I was part of this program. I know a few people have done that. Bob Lazar comes to mind right off the bat. But yeah, most of it just seems like it's all secondhand anyway. So it doesn't, like you say, it doesn't move the needle for me at all. But
Yeah.
but but you're gonna have a bunch of UFO enthusiasts that are gonna latch onto it. Yeah, these guys testified in front of Congress, so it's got to be true, right?
They're yeah, they're testifying. There's like NASA saying, yeah, we should invest more into like UAP stuff. Like a lot of these you know, departments and stuff aren't even talking to each other about the information that they have anyway. And like they have different understandings of what they mean when they're talking about this. With this kind of stuff, it's just we had another super chat. Oh my god, we got a we're almost there. We're so close. Helllsbells did give $10. She gave $6.66 earlier, and now at $10. They said if we hit it, oh shoot, it went off the screen there. Let me let's get that back up. If we hit it, I will have the Todd sends some homemade sauce to the Free Thought Library. I think they're saying I will have Todd send some homemade sauce to the Free Thought Library. Well, you don't have to do that, Helllsbells, because we're gonna do that live on camera, like now. Like it's happening. We won't have time, okay? But what do we have? We had like two
it'll,
more
it'll be replacement sauce.
replacement sauce. That's a good one. Yeah, I think maybe that's what we need. Yeah, I think we just need two more $10 donations, people, and we'll make the dream work. Okay. Do you want to see the crew suffer? Because we can make it happen. Absolutely. But anyway, we do have at least one caller in the queue here, and maybe some more folks. Do you want to get to some callers now, Kelly?
Sure, I'd love to. It looks like I've got a couple of good ones too.
Yeah, I think so. Let's get to that. But before we do, you know, I always got to thank the patron of the week, because every single week I'm giving a shout out to the folks who donate
Woo.
on Patreon, tiny.cc/PatreonTW if you want to support the show. But the patron of the week this week is going to be Dion Lachey. Thank you so much, Dion. And thank you to everybody who donates on that Patreon. You guys are amazing. And a special shout out to those who are donating to our goal tonight and who are also already patrons, because you are like super, super duper amazing for that. Anyway, thank you to everybody that donates. You guys rock. And with that out of the way, oh my God, Jason. Jason's got money to burn here. He wants to see it happen. $10 saying 2-minute warning. So I guess we only got 2 minutes on this goal. And we just need one more donation. And then it's gonna happen. Will you be the one at home, folks, to make this happen? How about this? Let's do this, Kelly.
What are you thinking of doing?
I'm thinking about let's pray tonight, because you know, Kelly, somebody out there has it on their heart. I think there's somebody who's in their heart. They feel they need to give the seed. Oh, there we go. Frankenstein, $10. You owe me, and I am sorry, crew. I'm so sorry. Okay, there we go. I was gonna do a whole like TV evangelical bit, but you know, that's fine. We did the goal anyway.
Frankenstein beat me to it too. So
yeah. Okay, that's amazing. We just got oh yeah, Kelly was gonna do it anyway. Kelly's giving $10. Oh my God, we're getting money from the inside here. We're getting money from the folks who are both part of the crew and part of the hosting. Anyway,
we don't get paid for this. We actually have to pay to be here to do this.
That's what I'm saying. Well, yeah, it's kind of a whole thing. But anyway, we have now officially surpassed the goal. Thanks to everybody's donations tonight. So here we go. We're gonna go to it as promised. Crew, can we get that crew cam up? Because the goal has been reached. Greg's shaking his head. This was his idea. He's acting like he don't know. Look at this. The sauce. The sauce is being poured. Folks at home who are listening to the audio version of this show, the sauce is being poured. Is it just Greg? Nope. Okay, we got more. John? No. He's just I don't think he's gonna do it. Okay, we're about to take communion with the crew here. So everybody at home, drink it up. Ready? Here we go. Bottoms up. Oh my God. That's terrible. That's awful. Their faces, how do I describe it for the audio listeners? They look like they're regretting everything. That's awesome. Kelly's gonna do, oh, Kelly. No, Kelly's doing it too. He put the whole packet in his mouth.
Woo!
Kelly. Oh my God.
Woo!
That is
Solidarity with the
something
crew,
else.
man.
Wow, crew, thanks so much for doing that. And another super chat that came in here. We'll read it in just a second when it becomes available to me. But man, you guys are super generous. Okay, we need to do more crazy goals, I think. I think that motivates people. We'll definitely try to come up with some more ideas. But please leave your comments below on what you think we should do next time for a goal, and we'll do it. We did get another super chat from K-Dub, gave $5 and said, what did Johnny Cash say when he got his Ben Gay mixed up with his Preparation H and it burned, the Ring of Fire? Amazing. I've heard that joke before, but it's very funny. It's very good. Thank you for the $5. Okay. We are now about 36 minutes into the show, and I think it's time we take some calls now, Kelly. What do you think?
Sure. I think I could talk again. So
you feeling
sure.
it? You still good?
Yeah.
Seriously, crew. Amazing. Okay, I'll get you back. We'll do something crazy for me. We'll torture me in some way, shape, or form, but not tonight. Let's keep it moving. Let's take our caller here. We got Daniel calling in to Truth Wanted. Daniel, welcome back on the show. The topic, the subject, the call screener is put liner, lunatic, or lord, RE, alien abductions, which is a great call description there. Thank you to our call screener. Daniel, what's going on?
Well, not much. I noticed that you asked for callers, so I thought I'd call in, and you guys started talking about the UFO subject, so it's just perfect for me to call in.
Yes, makes sense to me. Makes sense to me, Daniel. I know you got takes about what happened this week, so lay it out. Tell me what you think.
Well, I didn't even hear about this Congress shit, whatever. I really don't care, you know. I think it's a load of bullshit, to tell you the truth. I think they're just it's just distraction, you know. They're not really going to tell us anything. But,
interesting. Well, first, I thought you were going to say because you're Canadian, so you don't give a shit what happens in the U.S. politics, and that's fine. But you're saying no, aliens are real and they are hiding it, but they are not. Yeah. They're just not going to tell us. Like they're not even going to be able to testify to Congress. That's your position.
Yeah. No, it's just all a cloak and mirrors shit, and you know they're just. I mean, your election just proves why we can't know the truth, you know, like, because we're a bunch of fucking stupid apes on this planet. And remember a while back, you guys, we ended the show. I called in and I said about alien abductions. And I said, there's either three things going on. The people are either lying or it's some mental phenomenon or they're telling the truth. And then you brought up this thing about Jesus, whether he's a liar, or, this liar, lunatic, or Lord. Right?
That's right.
And I think the main problem, I could have told you that night, but I did look into it. And right away, the main problem is that the Jesus quote, the liar, lunatic, or Lord, that's supernatural. That's a supernatural claim, where the claim I'm making is not supernatural. I think these aliens that I think are in our solar system and are behind the UFO phenomena, they're part of our natural universe. They come from the same natural universe that we originate from. Right?
Okay, that's an interesting take. I hear what you're saying there. I think like what I would compare it to though is like substantively though, I still think it holds up because like if you think about like the reporting of like angel sightings in phenomenon, right? Like when you look at older bits of history, like that was definitely a prevalent thing, and that has like gone down, and there's more people that see like UFOs now than aliens these days, right? So like I still think that the supernatural necessarily isn't the dividing thing here. It's more just like the viability of the claim, because like, yeah, I agree. Like if aliens existed, right? Like you and I would think, yeah, this is a naturalist phenomenon, right? There's something that could be explained by science, but we still wouldn't even have the science to explain how aliens would get here right now, right? Because we know the difference in light years between us and the nearest habitable solar system, right? Or habitual planet. So it would have to be something even beyond our comprehension, which might as well be supernatural in some respects.
Well, no, I disagree.
Okay.
Well, I got one theory. Well, how about, like I think I mentioned this before, how about it's going to happen to us? We're not going to be, our days as surface dwellers are numbered. We're not, our ozone layer is not going to last forever. And when that goes away, we're going to have to either build domes around our cities, like physical domes, and we're going to have to go underground. And I think that's what happens to a planet. And you know, we know that stars die, and if you're in a solar system and your sun whatever dies, you have to leave that solar system, or you have to find. And I think one way is you could take your planet and turn it into a spaceship, basically, and then get into a different orbit, and then travel around the universe till you find another solar system and park yourself in that orbit of that solar system. And I think that's what happened in our solar system. What?
And that's Mars is your speculation.
No, not necessarily. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Can I just say real quick too? I just want to say, when you said our days on the surface are numbered, I sincerely thought you were going to say that the mole people revolution was going to happen, and like there's like we were going to be overtaken by some sort of underground civilization. Your thing makes like a little bit more sense, but like that's where I thought you were going with that. Just want to put that out there. So anyway,
right after that, you were talking about having to build domes in the ozone layer and everything, and then you said we know that's what happens to planets, and I was wondering, how do we know what?
No, I mean, Kelly, I mean that we know that stars, that the sun, our sun, is not going to last forever, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, but we were talking about planets in the ozone layer, right? And living on the surface. That's what you were talking about, and that's why I was trying to put a connection between how do we. Again, you actually said we know that's what happens to a planet. So I was just wondering, and I know I know a lot of people have speculation that that's like sort of like the death of Mars, that there was people living there. Is that where you're going with this?
Not necessarily, but yes, I do think that Mars did have a different climate, like a million years ago or whatever. Because I've sent in pictures to Dan that, and NASA's hiding this. They're putting that orange pink bullshit over all the pictures, that orange pink filter, everything is seen through. That's not what Mars looks. I don't believe that's true. They're hiding. I sent you pictures of little beings and little animals and stuff.
But you don't think Mars is orange?
I think it's red. I think when we look at it from a telescope, when we look at it in the night sky, it's a red planet, yes. But I don't think they're telling the truth about. I don't think that NASA is telling us the truth with the pictures that they're giving us. They always got orange pinkish filter. What?
Sorry? Well, why not? I mean, have you ever been like to the southeast of the United States? All the dirt looks like is that color.
Right. I agree.
If the dirt is iron rich, that would be normal.
No, yeah, I see your point. No, I agree, but I think they're doing a little exaggeration on it. That's all I'm trying to say. They're just to kind of make everything kind of blend together.
What would be the purpose of that? What would be the motive?
Well, again, I've had this discussion before. It's a bigger issue. It's not just that there's life on Mars, or there was. I think there is, but that would open up a can of worms where they have to admit more of an alien presence in our solar system.
Why would that be a problem? Why would that be a problem for them? It seems to me that if they could make that discovery, hey, we've actually found life on Mars, that would be huge. That could make a scientist's entire career. I mean, he would never have to worry about
Sure.
grant money again for the rest of his
Sure.
life.
Sure, but I'm saying that then they'd have to admit more, like what's behind the UFO phenomenon, and are there? And I think, remember, I said you.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If they could, it's not a question of admitting that. If they could show the proof of that, if they could have that proof in public,
Okay, wait.
that would make a guy's career.
Let me steel man Daniel here, because
No.
like think about it like this too, Kelly. Right? Like, okay, if you how you figure out what's going on in space, right? You have technology for that, and you have capabilities for that, and like the methodology by which that is done is not always publicly known, right? Like there's people, there's ex security people that talk about this thing, right? Where they're like, yeah, we know that these other countries have satellites and stuff, but they're not supposed to. And like we have satellites in places that we're not supposed to, right? There's all kinds of like communication and other kinds of technologies, intelligence technologies that would, necessarily be revealed in such a way that, if the alien phenomenon was real, might reveal technology or strategic resources, relationships, whatever that, we may not go public. So this is the one time, and I'm very consistent on this, that I always pretty much agree with the alien folks that I do think there is an incentive for a government to hide its knowledge of aliens. But I don't think that means that there's aliens on Mars. Let me be clear. I don't think that's the thing. I'm just saying I always push back on the skeptic position on this, because there's absolutely reason why I feel like you would, but maybe I don't know. Maybe you feel differently.
I can understand why why a government might want to keep that secret. I just don't see how you would be able to keep that secret from 1,000 independent scientists who are all looking at up in the sky with their telescopes. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that you're right. So like, I think that's where I agree with you, because it's like there's all kinds of astronomy agencies, like people doing space stuff that aren't necessarily government, right? Like they're private, and there's like universities and things that aren't necessarily government funded or anything like that. So yeah, I do think in terms of space, you're right. You're right. It does cause issues there for the alien position, I guess. I don't know. Daniel, your thoughts?
Well, like I said, I sent you those pictures from Mars.
Yeah, but we talked about them, and we're not. I'm not convinced that they're people. I think they're rocks. I think what you said was rocks.
But Dan, have you really closely looked at those pictures? Like, really, just sit down for like 10, 15 minutes. Get a magnifying glass. I'm sure Kelly has one. Get the picture as clear as possible, and then with the magnifying glass, go up to the screen and magnify the picture even more, and just get a look at it. You can see, I can see, like on two of them, there are two little beings. I can see a little attachment to their chin. They both got devices attached to their chest. You can see what look like two animals.
But Daniel, one problem is, one, you've already told me that anything that's coming from NASA is sus in the first place, right? So I don't know why I would trust these images from NASA to be accurate more than any other images from accurate. If they're doing all kinds of filtering and stuff, there's all kinds of data artifacts that can happen with this kind of stuff. So I don't know why I would begin to trust it now. And two, I don't think the existence of aliens is going to be just because some pictures look funny from NASA. That cannot be enough for me. And the ones that I saw, again, that we showed on the air to folks, it to me just looked like rocks. I think I could look at it longer if you really want me to, Daniel, but I don't see myself changing my opinion on that.
I don't know. Like I said, I see it, but
I know, but you're actually looking for something like that too. Your mind is already set on finding something like that.
Yeah.
But Kelly, you can distinguish when something, like if you put a fucking Hoover vacuum cleaner out in the Nevada desert for fucking 200 years, it's going to look like it's going to be all desiccated and calcified, and it's going to start looking like the rocks around it, but it's still going to have its basic shape. that you could see it was made and distinguish it from nature. And you see that in those fucking pictures. You really do.
But you
I
were
don't think
saying,
you-
but
I think
Daniel,
you guys
when we
don't
did those
wanna look at
pictures,
it.
you were saying they were living creatures. You weren't saying they were just bodies
Yeah.
scattered about. You were saying they were like actual organic life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
these are
see
like
those.
little beings.
Yeah, that's different
Little-
from a
little
vacuum
beings.
that's in the desert for 200 years.
No, I'm just
What
using
I-
that as an example to say. I'm just using that as an example to say it would look like the rocks and everything around it. We get all calcified, and that's what some of those objects were. I know I'm jumping around.
That's
Like
no,
you see
not. That's not how it works. It wouldn't become all calcified unless it was under extreme certain conditions. When I
just laying
now
out the sun for
I'm
a-
speaking as a geologist, somebody who has studied rocks. So when I look at those pictures,
I know.
do you know what a hoodoo is?
No.
Okay, what I'm seeing there is a hoodoo. When the last time we talked, I tried to explain what a hoodoo was to you. I don't think you were getting it then. It's
I never heard this.
HOUDOU. Google a hoodoo, geology hoodoo, and take a look at what you're seeing there and compare that to the pictures that you're getting, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing what I believe is a hoodoo, a small hoodoo.
Well, anyways, I don't know. I just think it's a shame we can't learn about it.
Say that last part, Dan. I didn't quite hear you.
Well, I think it's a shame that we can't learn about it because I think they are covering it up, and I think you guys. When we had to talk about not that you want to believe something, but I think you can be so skeptical that you don't want to believe things. You just don't want to believe things, because I think a lot of people, this rando from Canada calling in about aliens and that, who wants to fucking believe me? Why would they? I get it.
Well,
but I've been watching these. But I've been watching these guys for years, and these anomaly channels. You can see you can see pictures of the moon, various planets, and that, and the surfaces are all blank and blurry, and then they apply some Photoshop and they show it right in front of you, and they give you the picture. They're not hiding anything, and it's just like turning down the brightness on a TV set. If you crank up the brightness on a video screen, you'll just see blank. You'll see nothing. But if you turn it back, the image just comes alive, and that you could start seeing the image, and that's what they're doing, and that's what I've been seeing for years.
I know, but it's just not a forensically sound technique for image analysis. It's just not. It's just not a good technique.
Yes. What?
This is another thing that we talked about, right? Like I cannot change my entire worldview on the existence of aliens because a guy from YouTube opened up Photoshop and turned up the brightness on some pictures from Mars, and they look kind of funny. Like that's not enough for me to change my mind. Right? Like it's too big. The claim is too big, Daniel. That's the problem. It's too big. It has to be more. It can't be just a small group of guys. And here's the thing, right? Let me put it to you this way. When we first discovered like nuclear processes, right? When people were speculating about this stuff, when Einstein was talking about black holes, right? They didn't just say, "Oh yeah, black holes must be real because Einstein came up with this idea and it seems to make sense." Like that's not how that happened, right? Like people were still right and still didn't have enough evidence to demonstrate that something was real, right? Like you can still be right and still just not have enough to make your case. So it's not that I don't think that it's possible at all. I just don't think that the evidence that we're seeing here, at least when it comes to the photo stuff, that's not enough, right? So it's got to be more. That's really it.
No, I hear you.
That's where I'm coming from too. It's just I don't think I'm being too skeptical on this. This is a huge claim, and it's going to take huge proof to.
And there's grifters. You know this, Daniel. There's grifters everywhere, right? People actively, maliciously trying to trick people. So
especially when there's
thing.
Especially when we have especially when we have regular answers to these things, like the hoodoo, the formation of the hoodoo. If we have an explanation that we know about, then why wouldn't we take that explanation before we jump to something that's outside of our realm of knowledge?
Yeah. What were you going to say, Daniel?
No, I was going to say the grifters. They're not grifters. These are just guys. They're just average guys who just do this like a hobby. They work. But I'm not sending you to Alex Jones, where Alex Jones is going to talk about how aliens are here to turn us into gay satanic frogs or whatever the fuck he believes in. I'm not. These aren't that. They're not fucking grifters selling boner pills, whatever he fucking does.
Okay, but how do you know these people aren't grifters though? Because because listen, the grifters come in all kinds. Every time you watch a YouTube video and there's an ad on it, you're supporting somebody's channel.
I know.
Right? And so there are people that absolutely do benefit from misinformation in different communities,
that.
right?
I understand that. Yeah, of course. But they're not but again, it's a huge difference between Alex Jones and these kids. They're just average people who just got day jobs, and they're not making millions of dollars. They're not selling shit and all that. They're just
I don't think you have to make millions of dollars to be a grifter. I also think that you can have sincere beliefs in something and also be a grifter. I think Alex Jones is actually sincere in a lot of his beliefs. I told this story before. I've met Alex Jones in real life. When the COVID lockdown stuff was happening, he was 100%. I've never been more convinced that, this man is absolutely being real about what he believes, because this was off show. He didn't identify himself. I recognized him in a store, and it was in the beginning of March. He was buying alcohol, and the cashier was like, how are you doing? What's going on? And he went on this entire rant about how Austin was going to be locked down and how we were all going to be put in FEMA camps and stuff. Nobody asked him, hey, are you Alex Jones from such and such? That's just his life. That's when I knew, okay, this man is serious. Okay, I've seen it. It's not just a bit. I do think people can have really radical beliefs and still also grift as well. Alex Jones being case one. But look, I don't think that necessarily even means it's malicious either. I think it's complicated, but the point is, there are definitely conferences and books that are written in the UFO community that absolutely are based on nothing but bullshit. And I don't think that just because some YouTube guy is saying, hey, here's some other stuff. Yeah, is he malicious? Maybe not, but it doesn't mean that he's talking real stuff just because he's your average Joe either, right? So I don't know.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, look, Daniel, we've given you a lot of time here today. I know there's some other folks who want to talk to us. Did you have anything else you wanted to say before we let you go?
No, thanks. I like talking to you, and it's been fun talking to you. I like it.
Good.
Thanks for letting me.
I'm glad, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
I enjoyed
Daniel.
talking to you too. Thanks so much for calling in. Hope to hear from you again some other time. And this is why I like talking to Daniel, because Daniel's a real one. Okay. we listen, people are not nice to Daniel. I see it in the comments, and Daniel still keeps calling back. Okay. That's a man that, you say what you will, he has conviction about his beliefs. Okay. Mm-hmm. I respect it. I respect it. He's never plugged his own channel. He hasn't said, hey, you got to check out what I'm doing. No, he's a true blue believer. So, I respect it. I really do.
Yeah, he certainly is.
Yeah, I don't know, Kelly, what did you think about that call?
It was totally interesting. That's for sure. I always enjoy talking to Daniel. He does have some really interesting theories about the world. I guess the solar system mostly, within a lot of crazy. Didn't he have the subway tunnels underneath? I think it was in Io. One of Jupiter's moons had subway tunnels in it through the ice.
Maybe I wasn't there for that conversation. I would love to. I need a map. I need to map out Daniel's worldview, and we need to have a thing every time Daniel calls where we have it all laid out, because we have this problem where we have new guests come in and they ask kind of stuff that's happened before, and it's like, no, we've covered that already. Here's the chart. Refer to the chart. Here's what we got. We honestly legit need to have a
right.
That's something we got to work on. Okay, we're putting a pin in that. Fans at home, if you want to help out with that, artists, okay, let us know. That would be super helpful. But anyway, let's move on. We do have another caller in the queue here. We got Biddy calling in from Missouri. Biddy, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Hello. I am so excited that the rock guy and the conspiracy guy were hosting tonight.
Hell yeah.
I heard the most absolutely bonkers theory recently. Apparently, the Great Pyramids of Giza have water under the base that is creating vibration from sound waves and is generating electricity. But the reason no one is taking advantage of it is because the man doesn't want it to get out. And
oh yeah, now, I learned this in 5th grade, Biddy. I mean, this
Tesla.
this is common knowledge. I don't know. This is part of Common Core in the Texas public school system. I don't know if you're familiar, but that's pretty standard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I grew up in the Missouri school system, so I don't learn much about anything.
Right. I love how I'm the conspiracy guy,
learn this.
the rock guy and the conspiracy guy. I don't know how I feel about that characterization, Biddy, but I'll allow it. No, that's interesting. Was this so? Okay, so let me see if I understand. So the pyramids have water underneath that generate electricity. Is this like a Hoover Dam situation? Like they just got hydroelectricity going on, or what's the deal with that?
I have no idea. My friend just said that there's water under them, that it's like vibrating the rocks and the vibration and the sound waves are generating electricity. And because of the type of stone that is used, like it does something to conduct the I don't know for sure.
What are they conducting the electricity for?
A few things, and I ended up finding. What was that?
What are they conducting the electricity for? Do they answer that? They got to charge their iPods? What's happening?
Well, see, and that's the part I asked. And the part with that is like nobody knows how to get the electricity because the powers that be, if you will not let that information out.
Okay.
Kind of a government conspiracy on top of all this.
Okay. I guess the powers that be, is it the Egyptian government or just the New World Order? I don't know. Something's going on there.
I think
too specific.
I'm not sure. It just seemed kind of the government and corporations, general like American kind of stuff.
Yeah. I guess we have an embassy. I guess the American government has control over the Giza pyramids. That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. But that's really cool. So this is something that is something that somebody in real life told you, and you had the conversation with them about.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how did that go? Because I imagine you asked some questions. Yeah.
I said that is totally absurd. It's in the desert. Where did the water come from?
Yeah. That's one of many questions that you could be asking. So they wholeheartedly believe this, or was this kind of just like an idea they were running by you?
I think she was starting to believe it. She falls down a TikTok rabbit hole.
Of course.
And she also believes in like the witchy woo-woo kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. TikTok is going to radicalize all of Gen Z into becoming conspiracy witches, and that's the new reality that we have to accept. I've become more accustomed to it, but the rest of us maybe have to catch up. I don't know, but yeah. So I guess that conversation, I don't know, did it end pleasantly? I guess were you able to convince her at all with this? Like, hey, maybe this is just like not a good idea.
I tried asking, the kind of skeptical questions one might ask, and she just kind of dropped it. So I don't know if her mind was open to dropping that one.
Yeah, I think that there's some people where, and especially the TikTok folks, who kind of come across these ideas. And I think what happens is there's sort of a social phenomenon where they may propose these ideas to you or somebody that they trust to see how far they can go with some of these ideas. And if you don't immediately accept them, they might kind of drop it off. But I find that the ones who are willing to kind of share these ideas, they're like, oh yeah, and then there's also this, and there's also this, where maybe they don't know what truth from not truth either way, but they're just kind of fascinated by some of this stuff. And so I think that's how these kind of communities form, where they pride themselves on this sort of open-mindedness, like, well, this is the stuff that people don't tell you. This is like the hidden knowledge, the real truth. And like, it doesn't go like much more beyond that, right? Like, skepticism just isn't a value that's really, I don't know, valued in these kinds of circles, at least from my casual observation of this phenomenon. And maybe this is what's happening here. I don't know. I'm speculating, but like these TikTok rabbit holes, you're right, are not only super real, but also very, very deep, and can go to some pretty dark places. So I don't know. I would be mindful of any conversations you have going forward, because yeah, who knows? Who knows where it goes next, right?
Right. Well, and what's interesting is I am known in the friend group as the skeptic, the atheist. They all laugh that I roll my eyes at their horoscope jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the fact that she came to me with it just seemed interesting, because it's like, I'm not going to believe it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to make you a believer, I'm sometimes the person in the friend group where people will try ideas on me to see if it'll stick, just for laughs, I guess. And I don't know, maybe there's something to that, but these days it's hard to know when people are joking, and it's hard to know when people are really serious about some of this stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I hope your conversations with your friend become more fruitful in the future.
Yeah, thanks. I just thought it was such an interesting one that I'd never heard before. And I will definitely keep in mind that maybe she is just trying to shits and giggles, see if she can get me to believe something.
Yeah, that's a new one for me too. It doesn't surprise me though. Obviously, Egypt has a lot of or Egyptian culture has a lot of conspiracies around it, both in technology but also in culture, because there's a lot of fake history that happens there. This sort of like basically like Wakanda is like kind of real in a large amount of people's minds, like millions of people, I would say. And that's kind of part of it. Like the pyramids are usually some sort of power source, or I don't know, center of energy or whatever. The pyramids are always involved somehow. They're really popular for these kinds of narratives, because they're like one of the only ancient monuments that people in these groups can really name. That's yeah, really sad.
Well, and so what's interesting is I looked into if this was a thing. Apparently, there was one research study that just said, let's see what happens if we shoot some radio waves at the pyramids. But they couldn't actually do anything with the results, because nobody knows what's all the way inside the pyramids. So they just had to guess. And the internet ran with it.
Yeah, the internet runs with it, and that's how it goes. And obviously, it's water for some sort of hydroelectric. I would say dam, but it's not really a dam if the water's not moving anywhere. I guess maybe it's an underground river. I don't know. What do you got, Kelly? Maybe
I was about to say there is some speculation that the river was moated so that the water would be like right basically near the base of the pyramid, so that when they floated the blocks in from down the Nile, they wouldn't have to slide them across the land for too much. So, I mean, there was water there. There is signs of water erosion right by the pyramid itself. Of course, we're not going to build, if you're going to build a place for your body to be buried for all of eternity, you're not going to build it in a place that floods. But the Nile River actually used to come a lot closer to the pyramid than it does now. So you're not really out in the desert. You're on the edge of the desert on the riverbank, right? So I just wanted to make that clear. There is water there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what rock would generate electricity. I honestly do not. That one's blowing my mind, and I can't figure that one out. So,
Well, thank you for pointing that out, because I wanted to know, like, is that even possible? You know?
Yeah, I honestly, I can't think of any rock that would generate electricity by being vibrated, basically, is with the way it sounds. We're using the water to vibrate the rock to create energy. And I'm not even sure how you would vibrate the rock with the water to begin with. The whole thing sounds really, really far-fetched when you start looking at the details of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not
Right.
great. Go ahead, Biddy.
No, no. I'm glad that you also are seeing how absurd this is. Like, I felt kind of bad for a second, but my first response was, that is absurd.
Well, we used to live in a time where you could read a magazine and somebody would post some crazy thing and you go to your friends and say, hey, isn't this wacky that somebody points that? And now it's like at least a quarter of people I know believe in something that's just like objectively not true in some I mean, more than that, honestly, but like the ancient alien stuff here. I was actually trying to find this specific thing. Here, I just found this right now. This is a Chapman University study from 2018. A survey of American fears.
Yes.
41% of Americans, apparently, according to this study, say aliens have visited Earth in our ancient past. And 57% say that ancient advanced civilizations, such as Atlantis, once existed. 57%. Or maybe they didn't know, maybe they didn't understand the Atlantis part of it. Maybe they think that's just some weird other culture that they haven't heard of, but I don't know. Americans aren't doing so hot recently, I guess. And I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. So anyway,
educate people more.
Yeah,
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. At least I can tell you, Biddy,
really
I'm
all
this
I
way.
had.
Maybe you feel this way. Don't give in to your friend group and just say, yeah, okay, whatever, agree, disagree. Don't ever do it. Please. For all of us.
Oh.
Just keep fighting the good fight because we need it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. I'm with y'all. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that. Well, anything else you want to add before we let you go?
Yeah. I don't think so. Thank you for taking my call. I love listening to y'all. It's a joy in my week.
Oh, thank you so much, Biddy. Really appreciate you calling into the show tonight. And yeah, thanks for sharing that story. That was a fun and terrifying thing to hear about.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like the guy, your friend's older brother that smoked weed in their mom's basement is now, like, their opinion is like now the American consensus. That's where we're at. And I don't have any answers. I don't know. I'm as lost as the rest of us. We talk about all these fancy techniques, street epistemology, cognitive behavioral therapy, meeting people where they're at, demonstrating skepticism, but having longer conversations. And yeah, it works sometimes, but man, it's just not enough. What we're doing is not enough. And I don't know how to fix it. I don't have the power. All I can do is speak truth to power when I can, and when I'm allowed to. And I'm just gonna keep doing that, Kelly. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do, right? And go out and educate people more. I mean, that is probably the most important thing that we can do, is try to get people to understand the problems with this type of thinking. And one of the ways to do it is to talk about the details of it. Well, how is the water vibrating the rock? What's the process behind that? Scott Dickey, you've met Scott. Scott's a wonderful person. He's on nonprofits. He's one of the hosts of Talk Heathen. But he always says, show me your work. He's a math teacher. Show me the work. How did you get to that answer? And I think it's really important to hold people's feet to the fire, to get them to show you that work. Because when they start to go and try to show you to you, they realize there's nothing there. So I think that's really important, to get people to really examine the details of the more off the wall beliefs that they have.
Yeah, I people just don't like being challenged too, though, in general, I think people, their hackles get raised, right? We've talked about this. The amygdala response goes up. Yeah, you
That
know.
that's why I think it's important not to challenge. Like if you just come out
Mhm.
swinging, they're just going to dig their heels in, and then it just becomes just gainsaying of each other. So go into it friendly. Go into it, as if you really want to know, because you do want to know why this person believes this. So go into it and ask those questions. What is it that made you believe this? What are the 2+2 that you think makes it work? So I think it's really important to have the conversation and not be confrontational if you can. So
Yeah, no, I agree. And let me be clear, okay? All of the methods that we've ever advocated for this show are on this show, and that I've at least tried to implement, and I know you have too. I still fully believe in those. I really do. But at the end of the day, people are people, and people are stubborn motherfuckers. Okay, it is hard to change someone's mind about anything if that's even your goal in the first place. And a lot of people don't even care about that, right? They just kind of live in your own truth and stuff. And there's some reason to do that. I do think you should leave people the fuck alone for the most part. Is kind of my general vibe. But also, I do think you should call out bullshit and institutions that operate under and promote bullshit, because who else is going to if not you, right? I mean, yeah, sure, there's government agencies and advocacy groups, all kinds of people that try to do that, but it's not enough. Clearly, it's not enough. It's not working. You got to work on a local level. If you can at least help your parents out of some stuff, you're doing something. You're doing something real and meaningful. Just because it's not affecting millions of people at the same time doesn't mean it's not meaningful. And don't let anyone ever rob you of that notion, because that's also bullshit. But anyway, I don't know where I'm going on this tangent for, Kelly.
I was just thinking that you got to remember those advocacy groups are manned by people just like you and I do. So, that's part of it. It's just being one of those people that are advocating. You don't need to be part of a group. You just need to be advocating. So
yeah, that advocacy group is getting more funding is not going to stop Biddy's friend from not believing in the Gaza pyramid stuff, right? Like more often, like Biddy's probably going to be the one that has to do that, right? It's the people that you know are going to make the most impact on you,
exactly.
Usually. And so I still think on a local level, that's where you can make the biggest difference. But hey, let's move on to this other call, Kelly. We got Helllsbells who donated tonight and helped reach our goal in the torture of our crew. So thank you, Helllsbells, for helping us with that tonight. Super appreciate it. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. I'm more than willing to help out because, as a sadistic person, I love watching people torture themselves. So it was a good time.
Yeah, we're really doing good for the whole atheist name here by showing how much we're willing to torture our friends for monetary donations. But it's for a good cause, guys. It's for a good cause. Okay. And I'll rest my hat on that. But anyway, Helllsbells, what do you got for us tonight?
So I like occasionally through the ether, there will be like a conspiracy theory that either I forgot about or it is old to some people, new to me, or it's whatever's, around the zeitgeist. And I've been on a Kubrick thing right now with the moon landing and that shit. So that's even though I've been down this road before, I'm going down it again. So I was wondering if there's any current conspiracy theories, things that, you are I haven't thought about this for a while, or it's new to you that you're kind of digging right now.
Honestly, just now talking about Atlantis, I forgot how much I love Atlantis conspiracy theories, because I don't think people realize how far the Atlantis stuff really goes. I think when a lot of people think of Atlantis, they think of the Disney movie, or some Greeks some time ago wrote about Atlantis or whatever, and that's the extent of it. But no, Atlantis gets fucking crazy. It gets really deep. And there's so many things. Atlantis is its own kind of Gaza pyramids in a way, where people have all kinds of ideas about where the origin of Atlantis is, who's being occupied there, what's it doing right now. I mean, entire movies can be made about the plot lines that people come up with for it. So Atlantis is an underrated one, in my opinion. What about you, Kelly?
Yeah, totally. I've actually seen a pretty viable theory for what Atlantis was. Some people have put together. No, seriously,
what do you mean viable? What do you mean?
And it wasn't like a big civilization. It was like an island that may have been there and now is not there anymore. Maybe because of an earthquake or something off the coast of Ireland. And there are shelves that are just below the surface of the water that may have once been an island before an earthquake. So I'm not saying that was Atlantis per se, but it may be something that like started the idea of that loss of an island, just like Santorini in the Mediterranean, which is where I think really the idea of Atlantis came from, was that from that island blowing up. So
well, I mean, you could say that about any island that's sunk could be an inspiration for Atlantis, though. I feel like.
Yeah, right. I get that. That's why I think Santorini actually was, though, because it was right there. It was part of the Greek world. It's an Aegean island. 3/4 of the island was destroyed. Boom, all at once. We think it's what created the tidal waves that messed up the Minoan civilization on Crete. So there's actual historical evidence for that happening that might have created the legend of Atlantis, right? And what I'm saying with the one with the island off the coast of Ireland, somebody actually put together a somewhat viable hypothesis, right? That's actually based on real stuff instead of like bullshit, like the rings down in North Africa, down in the middle of the desert that people think might be Atlantis. So.
You were going to say something, Helllsbells.
I was going to say, it sounds like the flood, like, a natural phenomenon, like causing like a myth to kind of like form about, something that they're just like, hey, we don't know how this happened. Let's write it down. And, and then the story just catches on, like, that endless game of telephone we're always playing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is, you guys know there's a specific origin to Atlantis though, right? Like, it's not just like a thing that existed in a culture.
No,
it was
Homer wrote about it.
It was in Plato's
Plato.
Republic. It's in Plato's Republic.
No,
right?
it's not in Plato's Republic. It's in his
I knew Plato wrote about it.
Plato wrote about it. But he wrote about it specifically as a fictional allegory. Like and there's people that have talked about this and said, yeah, this is intended as a work of fiction. Like it's not like one of those things, because the flood stuff's different. The flood thing, here's why I think it's different, is because there are cultures that obviously talk about it as a folk story, and they may or may not have actually believed that's true. Like when Plato was writing about it, there's no doubt in my mind that he thought it wasn't real, like because he made it up as part of like his narrative, right? It would be like saying like, I think I don't know, that Harry Potter, maybe that J.K. Rowling thought Harry Potter was kind of real. It's like, no, that was obviously intended to be fictional. Like that's what we're getting with Atlantis, right. I think. Right. But anyway, interjected with my opinion, of course. But regardless, Atlantis is crazy. Some crazy stuff with Atlantis. Lots of
like you said there was a rabbit hole, and this is definitely a fucking rabbit hole. So
yeah. No, Atlantis is underrated. But anyway, what about you, Helllsbells? Sounds like you've been thinking about some conspiracies recently, or resurfaced.
Well,
some.
I'm very into like this whole like mythos around like Kubrick right now. It's probably because like I'm going through a thing, and all the conspiracy theories of people thinking that he had like hidden messages in his films and that Hollywood was against him and Illuminati, like, Freemason bullshit that surrounded him. It's very interesting. Super really interesting. And I'm just like, maybe people just don't understand art. I don't know.
I think the Kubrick stuff's kind of weird because there's like one of my favorite things about the Kubrick thing that comes to mind is just like the level of commentary that comes with every single shot. Like, I think there is one thing I saw one time in a Kubrick documentary, and maybe you saw the same one, where it was in The Shining, and there is a scene where I think Jack Nicholson or whatever like pulls out a can because he's looking at the food pantry, and there's a Native American person on the can as like part of the brand.
Oh my God, yes. Was
And
it
yeah,
the name like 2036 or something like that? Like,
well, people are saying it's like, oh,
remember.
that's a commentary on like a white,
Yeah.
a genocide of the Native Americans or something, like,
Right.
like some sort of like really deep political thing. It's just like, or maybe it's just like a label on a can. Like, I don't know. The Kubrick stuff's like people go real weird with that real quick. And sometimes artists just make stuff because it looks cool. I don't think it has to have a deeper meaning, but that people do about every single series
Well,
out there, right? Kubrick is it a special case because he's got his own following.
It is. I was just kind of thinking about it because, like, as you said, sometimes a can's just a can. And Dan, it is very interesting where people put so much thought, and like Kubrick, a lot of his films are based on like previous people's work, like their books and stuff like that. So it's not even original ideas he's coming up with, but they think they're original ideas. I'm like, no, we're not reinventing the wheel, man. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah. The thing about communication is you want people to understand your messages, probably. And like, maybe you don't have messages meant for all audiences, and that's fine. But who the hell was Kubrick trying to talk to? And what was he trying to say? I don't know. There's so many people that say so many different things about Kubrick stuff. It's like, I don't even know. I don't even know what the man was trying to say in the first place. So I think as a guy who's in movies, he would have a better idea of how to give ideas out to people, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. Maybe he had a master plan. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I guess I haven't thought about Kubrick stuff in a while.
I just think they're fun.
Yeah.
I love going down these little thought trails every now and again, just so I can be like, okay, like, all right, yep, there's some interesting thought processes here that I have not considered. It kind of just gives me a broader perspective because, quick story, we had the RFR excursion in September, and Dr. Ben was there, and he did a discussion on how you question people about their beliefs. And I had to place someone that believed that the pyramids were built by aliens. So that was interesting. So it was it's a very weird perspective as someone used to think and like woo-woo stuff, and go back to that mindset and try to put myself back into the mind of someone that believes like, that aliens built the pyramids. It is I didn't have that particular perspective, but I have some definitely interesting ones that you both know about. So I just thought it was a very good exercise to get you kind of into that mindset again. And it's just, I think it's a little bit of an after effect of that.
Yeah.
It is weird going back, right? And listening to somebody that sounded just like you did 20 years ago, and just thinking, man, how wrapped up I was in bullshit, and the inability to really think critically or think about the details, as I was talking about earlier. I didn't care about how the energy worked. I just knew there was energy coming off of these crystals, right? So, and the more, like I said, what got me out of it was I was wanting to learn about that energy. How is it working? How is it affecting the body? And actually trying to do experiments with friends who are supposed to be healed by these things, and it wasn't working. So I think it's I think it's really kind of fun to put yourself though back in that mindset and to see somebody. Dan, I think it would be probably the equivalent of you of talking to a hardcore Christian again and remembering that mindset you were in. So
yeah, I grew up
I
more
don't know if
distant.
that's as fun for you as it is for me with the woo stuff, but
Yeah, I grow more distant from that mindset every day, and it's harder. It becomes harder to remember what it was like to think in that way because my brain just doesn't work that way anymore. It's honestly, it sounds
it is very
infantilizing to
hard.
myself, but it is kind of trying to think about like how did my brain work when I was 5, right? Like I don't know, I can only kind of imagine. I can
That
think
was
about some thoughts I had, but I'm never gonna reach that same cognitive state. My cognitive state when I was a Christian is just so radically different from where I'm at now. And part of that's just growing up, but also like I just can't think in the same trappings anymore, right? You were gonna say something, Helllsbells.
No, I was going to say that, like, I agree because when I was trying to put myself back there, I had to really think about it. Like, what did I sound like, and why did like it's because basically, you know, Ben was teaching people street epistemology, which was really cool. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take on like the conspiracy theorist, you know, persona, and it was one of those things that I really had to think about saying things. You know, it's just like keep telling me more. It's a very strange feeling.
Oh, yeah, we broke up with you just a little bit, Helllsbells, but I think we got the gist of what you were saying there. Yeah, it sounds like it was a strange feeling for you to re-encounter some of those beliefs, and I agree. It is very strange and very surreal. And it sucks. You know, it sucks that we have to be the citizen fucking auditors of people's fucking beliefs. Like, I don't like auditing people necessarily. It's just like I want to protect people from bullshit. That's how I feel about it. It's just like I don't want people to fall
Right.
down the same bullshit logic that I fell down. That at least in the Christianity sense, absolutely negatively impacted my life and those around me. And there's very much an arguable case for more general conspiracy theories too. But in any case, Helllsbells, we are at the end of tonight's show here, so I am going to let you go now. Anything else you wanted to say before we do let you go?
No, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and everybody like be kind and give someone a compliment and raise hell. And
I like
hail Satan.
I like it. Thank you, Helllsbells. Great message. Great message. I co-sign. I think Kelley does too. I want to say.
Yeah. It's always fun to talk to Helen.
Helllsbells, great person, super cool. So glad they're part of the community. And on that note, folks, if you donated tonight, I want to say thank you so much for helping us reach our goal. It turns out all we have to do is tell you guys, hey, we're going to torture somebody live on the ACA broadcast. And you guys are willing to do it. You're like, yeah, let's go. So we'll have to consider that in the future. Please leave a comment below. What else would you want to see? What other kinds of goals can we reach? And what other kind of wacky stuff can we do? I'd love to see it. For now, we have to remember the prompt. This week's prompt is going to be complete the sentence. You know it's time to leave church when blank. You can comment on the video, and your comment may be read on next week's episode, and you can tune in next week for some of those top answers. I also want to let you know about a couple other things. We have a brick fundraiser going on. I neglected to mention this earlier in the show, but hey, that is still a thing. And the brick that I want to read out this time is from Joseph, who says, they are always saying God loves us. If that's love, I'd rather have a bit of kindness. Thank you for your purchase, Joseph, for that. And to learn more about our brick fundraiser and what we're doing there, you can visit tiny.cc/ACA bricks for that. If you like audio version of this show, you can go to tiny.cc/AEN podcasts for an audio version of that. And hey, if you want to see maybe my face or other people's faces for 24 hours straight into your brain, I don't know why, but you can do it because that's the magic of the internet by going to the links in the description for our 24-hour channels. We got tiny.cc/AXPTV for the Atheist Experience and tiny.cc/Heathen TV for Talk Heathen. So go check those out if you haven't already. And last, but definitely not least tonight, got to give a shout out to the wonderful crew that tortured themselves today live on camera and simultaneously help make the show happen. Oh, John's got it. He's doing it this time. Oh, man, he was waiting for this. Oh, no. He's doing it. John, you don't have to. Oh, he's doing it. Oh, that's wow. Okay, he did it. You did this tonight, folks. You did this. Okay.
You made it happen.
It didn't have to happen, but it did, thanks to the generosity of the people watching this program. So thank you for doing that. Oh, okay. Well, Kelley, any final thoughts, last words, things you want to say before we wrap it up tonight?
Yeah, don't give up hope. Just because the world seems a little against us right now, it's definitely not the end of everything. And it just like we mentioned in the beginning, it just means we have to work a little bit harder. So just don't give up hope.
Don't give up hope, folks. I'm Objectively Dan. Remember to always keep on the truth, and I'll see you next time.
Watch the non-profits and join the hosts in the live chat. Visit tiny.cc/ytnp.